Let's jump in here. We'll do our first question. And Jonathan, maybe I'll let you start here. Can you talk a little bit about exam timing, your schedule, and how did you sort of buy and schedule the exams? Did you do them kind of 1 month at a time? Did you buy them all at once? Talk a little bit about your approach to that.
Yeah, sure. So what I did was I kind of evaluated each exam, determining how hard I think it probably would be, and so I would schedule it accordingly. So I would allot myself, let's say, for programming, planning, and practice. Let's say, so I would say, okay, I think this exam I can pretty much schedule about 4 weeks for it, and so what I did was I would break it up to where I would take the last week of that chunk as my review week. And then I would divvy up the other 3 weeks by percentages based upon how the exam was broken up according to the NCARB guidelines.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so did you say you focused on the hardest exams first?
Oh, but no. Basically, I kind of evaluated each exam and thinking about how hard it was going to be, how I'm familiar with the material, and then I kind of do the time accordingly. So I basically started with schematic design first as kind of a introduction to the whole testing format, and work my way from there.
Okay, and then did you sort of follow any kind of schedule, like you always gave yourself a month, or did you just kind of play it by ear? And then how long did it take you to ultimately pass all the exams?
Right. I gave myself between 4 and 6 weeks, depending on the exam material and how comfortable I was with it. And that's how I scheduled it. And basically, my whole process, it took about a year and 8 months to do. So again, 4 to 6 weeks per exam, and then you allot some time in there for vacations happen, life happens, and that kind of thing. But overall, it took me about a year and 8 months.
Okay, cool. Jake, tell me about your approach. What was your exam timing schedule?
Yeah, I think using that last week for review is key. I usually spent about 4 to 6 weeks as well. And it kind of varied depending on the test. Like I didn't feel comfortable scheduling 4 weeks for structures or systems because it was a little bit more foreign. But I think that's a good timeline. You don't want to spend too long because you can kind of get sidetracked easier. And it's just easier to stay focused if you just keep it brief. And one thing that some of my peers did was we would always take 1 week break in between exams. And so that helped you get a breath of fresh air, but then also you're not taking a step back for too long, and then you got to get back into the groove. So that was a good time. So during my week break, I would always schedule my next exam towards the end of that week for about 4 to 6 weeks for the next one.
Okay, and how long did it take you to get through? And did you do ARE 4 or 5?
I did all 4. It took me about a little over a year. I went through the first 6 in about 8 months, and then my girlfriend and I bought a house, so we took about a 6-month break before I took structures, which I kind of regret taking that one last, but I got through it.
Cool. And Jonathan, were you in ARE 4 or ARE 5?
I was 4.0.
4.0. Okay, cool. Debbie, tell me about your approach.
Well, I did the transition. So I started in 4 and ended in 5. I usually tried to schedule the test when I felt I only had about 2 weeks worth of studying left. So I might have studied for 2 or 3 weeks already, but I kind of wanted to know that I generally grasped the information before I scheduled it. I have 3 young kids and life's pretty busy, so I didn't want to schedule it and then find out some crazy thing happened and I wasn't ready. So I gave myself, 2 weeks ahead of time to get it scheduled and be all ready for it. And then those 2 weeks were finishing up studying and then reviewing. And then at the end, I had to wait for 5.0 to come out because I had gotten the 3 done. The first 3 I got done in probably about 6 months, and then I had to wait a few months for 5.0 to come out. and then I took both of those within a month of 5.0 being released.
Okay. And how long did it take you to finish the whole process?
Start to finish, I think it was 13 months.
13 months. All right. So we're seeing some consistency here. A little more than a year in all cases here. I don't think I got that question from Jake or Jonathan. Maybe I'll ask you, Jake. How did you, I guess, buy the exams? Did you, kind of buy them, all 6 of those up front, or sort of as you went?
The firm Lionocus that I work for, they pay for exams when you pass. So during that break week, I would purchase them individually, but I would wait till the end of my break week to buy them, and then I'd be reimbursed around that time for the previous exam. So that's kind of how I did it on a single exam basis.
Okay, so you'd buy them right here, sort of in that break week between exams. Okay, and how about you, Jonathan?
Yeah, very similar. Our firm also reimburses us for exams when we pass, and so I would schedule and purchase my exam week 1 of my study period, and then once I got that pass letter or email, I would take it down and submit it for reimbursement.